door's closed, right? Let me tell you a story of the worst day of my life. Everybody likes to see pain, and there's a lot of...
taking it one for the team, right?
If I knew what team I was taking it for, I might be able to agree with you, but right now, you know, I've kind of got various things brewing in my head, and, yeah.
Lowtax had a thing where he, in, like, 2017, he had an issue with Smorky, who I did a stream on, and you should go listen to that stream if you're curious about that drama, but... his whole thing led him to meeting me, and I took on a lot of users from Something Awful at the time. And then after that, I shut down the forum because of drama with my best friend from England. And after that, I really split up ways with my family, and I haven't had Thanksgiving or Christmas with anyone from my family since 2017. And so it's just weird because that event ties very closely with Lowtax. And I thought about it for a while. Like, I had a week where the site was down, and I was just contemplating things. You know, it was strange to me that a family unit, which was made up over, like, what, 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years, was broken apart so heavily in, like, a week by, like, some guy just sending emails. You know what I mean? And because it wasn't just me splitting away from my family, like they were mad at my mom for some reason, and then my uncle and his wife really didn't want to associate with any of them anyways. So they all like just basically said go f yourself to each other and split apart entirely over like some guy just sending nasty grams to him and being threatening. And it's like, you know, it doesn't matter if a family takes like 50 years to build apart or build up, if it splits apart so easily in a week, you know what I mean? Clearly it wasn't that important to any of them to begin with, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm a weirdo. I always felt very disassociated whenever I watched a cartoon or a movie as a kid where the moral of the story at the end was that family is so important. You have to know your family, and if you're with your family, you can overcome anything. Like Lilo and Stitch had that thing where it's like Moana means family or whatever the and I was like, really? I don't trust you, Lilo and Stitch. I think you're lying to me. I think you're bullshitting. Lowtax is on, I believe, his second marriage, and he's apparently married to his second Korean wife. And I'll just read his message. I won't paraphrase it. Richard KYANKA, who is Lowtax, says, and this is going to be hard to read because everything he writes is obnoxious. What's the word for when you're in the middle of a divorce and you're out of town, and then your wife steals $3,000 from your business checking account, then disables her phone and takes a bunch of clothes and her pets and your daughter and flees the state, even though she has no immigration papers or driver's license, asking for myself? His second message says, fun new update. My wife and daughter are, according to the police, somewhere in the area, but they cannot tell me where. Because if a woman claims to be afraid of a man, and they don't require any evidence to do so, they can take your family members and hide for as long as they want. This is absolutely insane. I've never threatened or laid a hand on my wife, yet all she has to do is claim she's afraid of me, and now she's legally allowed in Missouri to stay hidden with certain organizations indefinitely. Not to sound like a red pill man going his own way, but it's absolutely insane that a woman can take your child away from you by just claiming she's scared without requiring any proof or evidence. This is absolutely Now, the reaction from Something Awful has been many big boohoo, sob, cry tears, though it's unclear because she's not said anything anywhere what the actual situation is for her. What people were saying one person said on the forum, a dissenting opinion, was that he was out of town at the time that she left and was visiting a forum, they said. So he was probably eloping with a woman from the website, and she was upset and left. Which is probably fair. But it's very, I don't know. Her name, I've actually had a conversation with Lady Ambien, and before, I mean, the situation is what it is. I do agree with him that it is kind of that she doesn't have to initiate any kind of legal proceeding to basically kidnap the daughter and move away. No proof or evidence of anything that's happened to her that would warrant a fear for your life. Though, what I'm curious about is how she doesn't have immigration papers. You're married, bro. You should... you would presumably have a permanent residence visa at that point, unless you're so lazy with your paperwork that you haven't properly immigrated her, even after a marriage. It's even more shocking because, from what I understand, their daughter also does not have her papers sorted out, which I don't even know how that works. How the in the United States of America do you not have your daughter's citizenship sorted in the United States? Like, all you have to do is be born in a hospital in the United States, and you have a birth certificate and a passport for them, like, immediately. So I don't know what Lowtax did to end up in that situation where he doesn't have citizenship for his kids sorted out. It's the easiest thing in the world. Women from Russia take a tour to Florida to give birth just so that they have a dual national child. It's absolutely mind-boggling. The only thing I can think of is that they literally gave birth to this kid in a barn like it was Jesus Christ, and then didn't bother to get a birth certificate, which I think is illegal. Like, you have to register the birth of your child with the Department of State to get a social security number and shit. Or they went to Korea to have the baby, which is also weird. Why would you bring a very pregnant woman, especially someone poor like Lowtax, who constantly gropes about their financial troubles? Why would you fly a very pregnant woman to South Korea to give birth just to complicate your own residency issues, you know? It's bizarre. I mentioned that I had a conversation with Lady Ambien, is her name, because apparently she does or something, like she does, and the joke goes that she does and he does boxed wine and Ambien. And at a certain point in 2017, before the forum went down for about 2 weeks because of the threats and shit, Something Awful was falling apart because of Smorky coming out as like a pee-pee-poo-poo, and Lowtax having... I think Lowtax was so punched upside the head, blindsided by this revelation that this person he's known for a decade is a child, and that he's let this guy, like, Smorky came to his house and babysat his kids and shit, and he had to have conversations with his kids, you know, the really fun conversations that you desperately don't want to have with your kids at any point in their life. So the reality of how this person could have taken advantage of him, like, woke him up from his coma, because Something Awful, from what I understand, has been on autopilot for a very, very long time. And when I say Something Awful, I'm referring colloquially to the forum. The blog itself is basically dead in the water. Nobody gives a shit about the actual website. It's just the forum that makes the money. So in the time that it's been on autopilot, it's lost a lot of the what made it special. A lot of the humor value has died. All the people have become PC. It's a very gated community for people who have a specific political disposition. And Lowtax himself had very little to do in informing this direction of the site. His volunteer staff did, because he doesn't know how to do anything. He doesn't host the forum himself. He doesn't moderate it himself. He does very little of day-to-day or even long-term operational stuff besides just maintaining the money-making apparatus, the banking and the credit card processing. That's all he cares about. So by relinquishing so much control over the site to volunteers, he created a power vacuum that was taken up by people who have morphed the site into something quite unlike its original form. And during the Schmorky stuff, because the forum was very integral in releasing leaks and helping people get their word out, Lowtax ended up joining the site and thanking people and talking to people for a little bit before people on his site forced him to stop posting on the forum because it was problematic for him to do so. And he's not come back since. But one of the things I remember the most about his stay on the site was that he went back to something awful, and he was very upset with the way the Schmorky thread was going on something awful, because a lot of people were like, oh, well, just because Schmorky is a pee-pee-poop, we shouldn't dead name them. We shouldn't misgender them. We owe them basic human dignity and respect. And Lowtax is just like, what the is wrong with you people? He's a he is a and he might have kids, and you guys are insane. And he pointed to the forum and said, those people are funny. Those people are making things that are funny. They're making like Photoshop jokes and music and shit. And that's the stuff that Something Awful used to do before we became this shit. And it seemed for a little while that he had a real impetus to awaken from the wine and Ambien coma and return as the headman of his own site. And Lady Ambien contacted me and was basically asking for advice on how to proceed. And we had a little conversation. And I mean, she asked me not to talk about the stuff we talked about. But given the circumstances, I'm sure she's okay with it. I'm going to take some liberty. I've kept quiet on it for a while. But what she basically said is that Lowtax has no pushback. If you pressure him on anything, he gives instantly. He wants a path of least resistance every time. It doesn't matter who's doing it or what their motivation is or how it impacts him or what the effect is on his life. He wants to do as little as possible. And the moment anyone confronts him on anything, he will just hide. He'll shrink away. He'll go to a different room. When she says that she was trying to encourage him to take the reins of the site back, he would like just walk away from her and go lay down somewhere. And I can only imagine what that's like living with when you can't talk to someone because they'll just shut down. They'll power down like a robot and hide in a different room for the duration. Especially it's your site. It's your site. I can't imagine ever having people tell me how to run my site. Like, I've given too much to let random people with zero investment and shit to tell me what the to do. There's no way. Literally, it does not matter who it is on the forum. We have a lot of people I would hate to lose, but if any of them ever acted like I owed them anything, no. not a chance. Nothing. There is nothing you can say to force me, to capitulate me to your demands. Off. But for some reason, Lowtax is just like, whatever. I know the site sucks. I know it's not funny. The people on it, I don't like them, but they give me money. And if you guys want to do this for free, you want to maintain the code for free, you want to operate the service for free, you want to moderate for free, you can make this thing as much a catastrophe, much as of an embarrassing spectacle as you want. Just keep the gravy rolling. And from a Whammon's perspective, that's one of the most unattractive stances you could ever possibly take on anything. Just let other people wash your for you. Off. I guess that's an aside. I did send her a message, by the way. I sent Lady Ambien a message. I probably shouldn't have. I felt a little bit sleazy for it, because it's like, oh, she's apparently, allegedly, in fear of her life, right? But I'm gonna hit her up for the scoop. You got anything to say? I've heard some things, some hot goss. I was wondering if you maybe had something to add to this conversation. No, I was a little bit more tactful than that, but only a little bit. The site was getting really big really fast during the Something Awful stuff, because we did get a lot of new users from Something Awful. And I still know people who joined the site because they found out about it from the Schmorky stuff. And they said that the site's as close to the original Something Awful kind of environment that they liked a long time ago as they found since, which is nice. But then the site went down immediately during this. The site went down because of the Vordrack shit, and it lost all that momentum, and I still regret it. I always think about how big the site would be, how many more people we would have from, how many more good contributors we would have from Something Awful if it hadn't have gone down at that time. A lot of people still don't know the site's back up. It hurts my heart. Woe is me. Used to be a good site. I'm sure it was. I mean, what's funny is that just recently, like the week before this happened, somebody gave me a hot tip, a little bit of a scoop, that Lowtax was deleting articles from 2005 and older that were problematic and not nice to transgendered folks with an X. So I was going to play a game. I forgot about it. I should go back. Now it would be an inopportune time to do it, because I don't know if Lowtax is paying enough attention. But the idea was that we would find old articles on Something Awful and feature them on like the front page of the site, like old internet content of the day, and then it would be a Something Awful post about like f***ing people, and it would be a horrible embarrassment, and people would complain about it on Something Awful, and we'd just get him to delete all the old content that built the site over time, like cutting down a tree at the base. But I guess that's really mean-spirited. It is also funny. That's the that's the tightrope you gotta walk. Is it too mean-spirited to outweigh the funny? And in that case, I mean, it's not, because it is a voluntary action. You are making someone do something that they have no reason to do, except that you're making fun of them. That's as clean cut as it gets. That's a smooth shave. Oh yes, please do it. Sounds funny. Do it. Ooh, even though Lowtax is at a low point right now, his daughter, his whammon, his pets, all gone away in Missouri. Is this the opportune time for humorous content? Why would he do that? Because his people complained. Same thing as with the Schmarky shit. Why the f would he censor, ban people, probate people who are dead naming a Schmarky? Because his people complained about it. Why did he stop posting on the Kiwi Farms? Because his people complained about it. And what's funny is after that, he was really hurting for advertisers, right? Like that was before his Patreon account, which makes like $10,000 now. And I'll mention that in a second, but he was mostly making money from advertising. So it's like $20, and the way that it works, it's like it's a pool. You put $20 in for a month, and then every time someone loads a page, they get a random advertisement from the pool. So if there are, I mean, it's a really fair system. It's the way that 8chan does it, where if there are 100 people advertising, they're all fairly put in the pool, unless they bought multiple times. If you bought it 5 times, it's like a lottery every time you load the page, right? Very fair system. And it has, if it's really competitive, you get shown less, but that's how much the space is worth, right? So I put in a Kiwi Farms advertisement that went straight to the Something Awful page. And threw in a couple quotes from Lowtax as the ad. I had the Kiwi Farms logo, white background, and then quotes from Lowtax or quotes from the Something Awful discussions about the Kiwi Farms thread, and put it on the advertisement for Something Awful. And he took down my ads, and he didn't refund me. I even wrote him an email saying that I would do a chargeback if he didn't refund me, and this still didn't refund me. What an asshole. He didn't render the service. It ran for about like 3 days. I was giving him good money using that space. But people complained, and that's all that matters. He wants a life without noise and without problems, the laziest, most simple, straightforward, non-confrontational existence possible. And that's the kind of life that you only get with Ambien and boxed wine, I guess. It ripped me off like $20. Well, technically like $18 because it ran for a couple days. I do a proper stream on it. I don't know him that much. It's on the table. His story is still ongoing, and it's a slow one, so I'm in no rush. Lowtax won't let us delete you and die, but he does want to purge. Right now, the question isn't if, it's how and when. And Lowtax confirms this on his Facebook page. Of course, not on his own site. For some reason, these people don't use their own websites. I don't know why. But this is Lowtax on Facebook. To all the internet recluses who have bitched and whined and complained over the decades that the evil are taking over the Something Awful forums, good. All of them seem a billion times more rational than any of you. Now, off forever. Oh, now. So, if you have any problem with any of the things I'm about to show you, off forever. That's the lesson to take home. In the last... It's more than that. I should really bring up this page. Hold up. Don't know why I didn't. This shows 34 people banned today, as in the last 24 hours. But if we actually go to the site, it's a lot more than that. There's tons and tons of temporary bans. The 24 bans are the permanent bans. And since, like... that's all one day. That's all the 11th. That's like 50 rows of bans and probations. Still the 11th. Finally, we get to the 10th. And it's another 50 rows of that shit. So 100 people banned or probated in one day. This is all on the 10th, so it's up to 150 people banned or probated in one day. Still the 10th, still the 9th. 200 people banned over the course of this. And the 8th, I think the 8th is when it started, so I'll include the 8th. 250, a little bit more than 250. 250 paying customers avoided from this site, for at least temporarily. Because what they decided to do was delete this forum, this area of Something Awful called You and which is one of the oldest and most infamous parts of the board, because that is where the hell threads were at. And the hell threads were basically... kind of, sort of the origin, the starting point of doxing, and are home to famous people such as Zoe Quinn, who very famously participated in the You and I hell threads where they dox people in early internet days. So obviously, in the year 2019, our Lord, this is problematic, and we have to deal with this. So let's see how they deal with it. Very not well. This is Koala's March, one of at least 2 moderators who are either stepping down or have already stepped down. The other one is Facts Are Useless. And Facts Are Useless stepping down was a big deal, because I remember in 2017 when the Schmorky stuff happened, Facts Are Useless was the big guy who really helped Lowtax fight the forum off, making fun of them, and was a... because we doxed a lot of their at that time, and Facts Are Useless was helping people deal with it and shit. Very anti-forum, pro-social justice. So I really wanted to dox him, but we never did. We did find a picture of his dog, though, so we doxed him. That was the joke that we went with. It was sufficient. Because what the I mean, the difference between doxing and dogsing is nothing, because nothing happens either way. Okay, so this is how Facts Are Useless got banned, or banned himself. He went to You and I, and he tried to rein in a thread by banning someone. And the result of him doing this were people reacting negatively to the fact that he wasn't doing enough. And that's the overarching theme of all this outrage is that he keeps coming in and saying that we need to deal with the bigotry and the intolerance, and we need to do something. We need to come up with a solution together as a forum. But nobody wanted to hear that. So he's saying this person, this Cascade Beta, is like a psychopath. Yes, irony helped create the alt-right. Ironic bigotry helped gateway people into the hands of non-ironic bigots and helped them realize that they were never actually speaking from a place of irony because it was reflecting deeply held beliefs that they were afraid to voice unironically. It's a real phenomenon. The whole thing is and should not exist in 2019. So Facts Are Useless tries to defend himself by groveling. I'm sorry, I meant to make a more generally applicable point. Again, I haven't clicked it before today, and I've seen as offensive and shitty. I think the thread should be which is a fantastic statement because when they delete threads, they gas it, which is an allusion to like concentration camps. Really, really not reconciling the history of the board and its deeply held irony and the attempts to moderate it. The thread isn't good enough because it's just going to keep happening again and again and again, especially now that we're speaking up about it. It's a culture problem polluting the entire subforum. And he tries to ease the pain, to put some soothing cream on that rash. But Cascade Beta and the other cannot be reconciled at this point. They are out for blood. They've been acknowledged, and now that they've been acknowledged, they are not going to stop until they get what they want. And what they want is for you and I to be closed. The mod of you and I is posting in the anti-LGBT thread and encouraging it. FAU. That's the problem here. How many more times do we have to say it before people get their heads out of their ass? And listen, it's a culture problem, not a singular thread problem. This will not go away because of one thread is deleted. And the outcome of this, the outcome of him not being able to placate these crazy people, is Facts Are Useless resigned as moderator and then posted a thread which, in something awful, automatically banned your account. And he said something like, I really shouldn't have been a mod here. This is it. I am really sorry to all the people who I've hurt on these forums. It's clear to me at this point that I have nothing to contribute to something awful. I should have self-banned a long time ago so I can go work on myself. And then a very funny person bought him, you can buy people avatars that forces them to have that avatar, bought him a very exquisite picture of that says women don't have as his avatar, which is actually really funny. And it's a shame that the people who do that kind of stuff are not considered funny anymore on this site. And that person's probably already banned. He's probably already banned in the purge of 250 people who are now gone. This guy actually joined from something awful, Bango Skank. He was probated for 6 hours. I think most of those people were only banned for about 6 hours. A lot of people who were banned were offended and saying that the ban should have been for longer, and because they were complaining, they also got banned for 6 hours, which caused the survivors of this ban chain to huddle together and say that the mods are encouraging like terrorism for banning the downtrodden and oppressed vocal minority on the site. The Bango Skank came over to the forum to laugh with us at how funny things were. And of course, because he came over to the forum and laughed with us, at least someone named Bango Skank came over and registered this account to laugh about being banned. He was permanently banned for attempted off-site doxing, which he didn't do. This was his only post. I wonder how many of these people they purge over the next few days are actual leftists who just don't buy into idpol bullshit or refuse to take their posting orders from insane cross-dressers. But of course, we're all chuds or Trump voters in their mind. And he was proven right because he was permanently banned for apparently doxing. And then, not going to read all of this. The majority of his post was just that he's very disappointed that even though he is a leftist, he just doesn't buy into the whole identity politics thing. he gets banned because he posts where people say you can't post. KF is so insidious that all I did was make an account here. An unforeseen force compelled me to dox myself, I guess. Repentance screen capping, because this is all behind paywall, which helps hide the embarrassment that it is. Maybe rolling the bulldozers, and then when those GBS, which is general bullshit, bigots have settled in, roll in some more bulldozers. This is advocating for closing 2 different boards because I guess their subcultures are toxic. What is the net benefit that anybody gains out of the continued existence of F you and die? What is the net benefit anyone gains out of the continued existence of something awful? Which is promoting a mentality of just joining very secret Discord channels to not be laughed at by other websites. The fact you conflate class traders who disproportionately oppress and people of color, I guess, with people on an internet forum who want the rules respected reveals an incredible level of ignorance and unchecked privilege that needs to be addressed, preferably via an immediate probation or ban. Too long didn't read, shut the f up and get the f out. If you said that these posts were coming from something like Reset Era, you would probably fool almost everybody. We really need to crack down on ableism. And this is talking about changing the forum, and because, everything in Something Awful has like a goofy title or a goofy subtitle. So they're saying we really need to crack down on ableism. Words like stupid, crazy, and weird are words that we shouldn't be throwing around anymore like it's nothing. We shouldn't be posting drunk threads or encouraging drinking when so many goons struggle with drugs or alcohol. Ageism, classism, ableism, there is no margin for error here. Oh, and of course, there's no girls on the internet, right? So on the profiles, it says claims to be female or claims to be male as like a joke. The profile page states people's gender as claims to be female. I think it would be nice if this forum didn't question my gender identity. That one's real. I think the first one, we need to crack down on references to drunk threads, is a joke, but that one's out. That's real. Here's a post by it's a pony. This is not like satire, by the way. This pony with the Ushanka and the communist symbol in the back. My little comrade, socialism is magic. It's 2019, and we know that irony posting is what gave us Gamergate, the alt-right, and the return for the real's actual fascism. How can anyone justify this? And this is also not a joke. I'm not kidding you. This is rarity in real life. And they look exactly like how when you look at a pony with an Ushanka named My Little Comrade, Socialism is Magic, making a post about how it's 2019. This is precisely what you imagine in your head, I think. Yeah, just soaking in. Let me get another sip. Okay, this is another one where I can't tell if this is satire or not. This is by RoboShit. I've been doxxed by both sites, and there's a huge overlap. And this is in referring to Fayad and the Kiwi Farms. I'm M to F, and some guy posted a pic of me, and then another pic of my WoW Classic character, a female Tauren shaman. Guy said that I would only pass an Azeroth. The next day, I'm checking Kiwi Farms to see if they've gotten any new doxx on me, and the pic is floating around there now. Fayad and Kiwi Farms are the two big bastions of hatred and bigotry towards non-gender or non-binary / gender punk people such as myself. And I'm literally going to lose sleep tonight wondering if pushing these people out of their containment zone is only going to unleash a new wave of violence against trans people. He continues, someone asking what gender punk means. I'm the one that is gender punk. It's a new term. Basically, while I mainly consider myself M to F, I also believe that my gender / body needs to be augmented using computer parts. I am chipped with biodata, and I'm hopeful in the next couple of decades, as prosthetics get better, I can go ahead and get cybernetic implants, and also my arms and legs can be replaced like Adam Jensen. He continues. That's what I'm saying. Lowtax needs to code something to where we can see their browser history, and so we can out the Kiwi Farms posters and ban them. So Adam or Dina Jensen really wants to NSA the out of your browser history to know if you post on the Kiwi Farm, so you can get banned preemptively from something awful. Now, you might be wondering, how do these people have money, and do they give money to Lowtax? The answer is maybe. Lowtax currently makes an impressive $10,000 a month. For many years, Something Awful was struggling financially. Then he eventually just made a thread saying, please God, just give me money on my Patreon. And people gave him lots of money. When he did that, his Patreon jumped by $15,000. And it's been steadily decreasing ever since. You can see the bump there where he had a little bit under $2,000 per month. Then he made that post, and overnight he had $15,000. Now, what he's wanted to do with that money is do much needed updates to the server, update the forum software, make improvements to give people giving you $15,000 a month some reason to continue giving you $15,000 a month, and he's completely failed to do that, which is why in the last 6 months it's dropped from 12,000 to 10,000, which really isn't that fast of a decline. I mean, especially for someone who does nothing. Literally, as his mods are purging the site of entire communities, he's on Facebook talking about, and this is going on while his wife and kid are still MIA, by the way, and he's going through a divorce. So, I mean, I guess that's some excuse to do nothing. But to give you an idea of what kind of upgrades Something Awful could benefit from, this is Facts Are Useless. Now, I mentioned Facts Are Useless, his account. In under 24 hours, he rejoined and has been groveling like a infant for forgiveness ever since. So now he's no longer an admin like he used to be, but he's back on the site because he couldn't stand being away from his hotbox for even a full day, apparently. Kiwi Farms, this is a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. Kiwi Farms also thinks that radium code is just a conspiracy to blame things on, and it can't possibly be that bad. I don't know if that's a thing. I would believe that the forum is badly coded because it's so old, but perhaps other people disagree. Facts Are Useless says they're insane. Sometimes people, we're insane. Sometimes people get it wrong, like saying that we can't delete or remove or rename forums, which happens all the time. But there are some real weird things that can't be changed. For instance, admins have a delete post button. They very explicitly can't use it because it breaks threads. Why is it there? Because somehow it's built into the core functionality so deep that touching it would cause some sort of major issue. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I remember Zendeath Robot saying he once broke the forums entirely by changing a smiley tag or some really other minor shit. And Angerbeat, who I think is also a former admin because he joined in 2004, said, the admin panel is, let's just say, there were certain user groups simply labeled do not touch ever, and I'm pretty sure no one knows what they do, but are clearly of vital importance to the system. And this is the person explaining that he literally re-registered after half an hour from his ban and was full of apologies and groveling ever since. So that's the story for him coming back. The reason why Lowtax apparently can't use any of that $15,000 a month to fix his site is that he apparently spent his entire 401k keeping the site open when it was unprofitable. So he's hoping to make his money back before he invests any of it back into the site, which I guess is a fair excuse, but maybe put a little bit back into the site. Like if you get $15,000 a month, maybe put 10,000 of that towards the site, and put 5,000 back into your retirement account, so that people get their money's worth for donating to you. I think I even offered to him that I would create an importer to import Something Awful into Zen 402 for $10,000, and he completely ignored my offer. or he entertained it until people told him not to do any business with the Kiwi farms ever. So no, I guess he's just keeping all that money to drink himself with, which I guess would be the most pleasant possible outcome for Lowtax at this point. Let me play you something that somebody found. It's only a couple of minutes long, but it's worth it.
You know, the internet.
This is Lowtax speaking, by the way. This is from 2005.
It's just kind of like a weird sociological experiment because, you know, you've got people who were previously sitting in their basement reading fantasy novels all day and all night, and then some. And, you know, they've got some weird kind of fetish, or they think that, you know, the people who make traffic signals are out to kill them, or wind is made by tigers or something like that. And they just sit there by themselves because they think they're the only ones who think that, you know, and obviously they can't go out in public and start screaming at the wristwatch because, you know, they get arrested or something. But what the internet does is it actually gets these people together. You know, before the internet, these people were just by themselves. Then they get on the internet, they do a search, and they find people that are exactly like them. And then soon, you know, just one person goes into two. 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 16, 16. I can't go past 16, I'm sorry. I failed out of college. And so it just keeps on going on and on like that. And once a group kind of hits a certain number, then these people think that they're in the majority. And they start beginning to think that, oh, well, if you think that I'm wrong, you know, I've got all these people here telling me that if you look at the color white, you get cancer. So obviously we're right. And obviously you're a bigot. And I get that all the time because you can't poke fun at anybody without being called, you know, racially insensitive, even though, you know, people who think that, you know, hats are trying to kill them, that's not a race. Okay.
What an insightful seminar. He should have, when he's committed to an insane asylum, he should have this put on repeat in his cell for the rest of his life until he chokes on his own vomit after a binge. I think that's it. It's ongoing. There's lots of drama. It's hard to get because you have to have an account, and I'm not giving them any more money. Here's how much Lowtax can go for himself, right? I'm going to show you something. Where is this link? I didn't want to show you this at first because it just makes me look like an idiot. Because I got ripped off. But there's an ad list, right? There's a banner rotation on something awful for like $20-$30. You put your own banner on it and it lasts for an entire month. What a deal. So I made a very, very good banner to try and to swing some people try to swing some traffic my way. And I think that Lowtax has banned the KiwiFarms.net domain from his banner rotation. Like if you try to put a KiwiFarms.net URL into the banner, it just drops it automatically, right? But it still charged me. So this is going to force me to call up my bank and file a fraud complaint because this took 30 of my hard-earned US dollars and just stole it and did not put my fantastic banner advertisement on for even a second. Like the last time he didn't, he like took it down after like a couple days. And I was thinking about filing like a fraud complaint, but like I guess it went up a little bit. So I guess that was my money's worth. This time it didn't go up at all. So there's no way I can mentally justify this. This stole my 30 US dollars. And I am going to get my 30 US dollars paid in full. Not partially, not a little bit back, not after transaction fees. No, I am going to have Lowtax. Richard KYANKA is going to send Joshua Moon $30 And I will continue to update you every week on my quest to get my money back from this asshole who did not put up my banner advertisement, because it was a very good banner and I worked very hard on it and it deserves to go on the banner rotation. So that's that.